So for more reaction and insight, we now welcome Jason Greenblatt, former White House envoy to the Middle East and author of a new book coming out in June about the Abraham Accords and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, In the Path of Abraham. And he joins us live from New York. Thank you so much for your time on this day.
Thank you for hosting me.
So Naftali Bennett is talking about a new wave of terror. Given your work in the past in this region, efforts involving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, what is your take on what is sparking what the Prime Minister is calling a wave of Arab terrorism? Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I commend Naftali Bennett, Prime Minister Bennett, for his remarks. He wants to quash this with an iron fist, and there is no substitute to quashing it with an iron fist. Part of it is spoilers. Spoilers are always out to ruin progress. There's tremendous progress, as you saw from the Negev summit, as you saw from President Herzog's visit to Jordan. People who are against peace, haters, evil people, will do anything they can to create problems. And then, of course, there's the traditional anti-Israel, anti-Semitic desire of some evil people to murder Jews, to murder Israelis.
It's interesting because, sadly, when we look at some of the people that have been killed just in the last week, it is not only Jews who have been killed, Arab Israelis have been killed, Ukrainians here who have been here for a short time have been killed. It really is a devastating blow, and terror impacts everybody. Now, as you have alluded to, leaders and experts here saying Israel has faced terror before, but this is a new Middle East. The Negev summit saw these messages of unity and about a new era of peace. The Abraham Accords, of course, changing the landscape here. But are these warming ties between Israel and some Arab allies part of what is sparking this reaction from terrorists in this juncture?
I think it is, and I think that's why that Negev summit was so important. The condemnations of those foreign ministers at the Negev summit was forceful and clear and without any kind of equivocation. So whatever it is, we will only be able to fight terrorism by working together, by Israel taking a forceful response and working with Israel's new Arab friends and allies, prior Arab friends and allies, and fighting this together.
When you hear about terror attacks that have happened right now in the last week here in Israel, would you expect more outrage out of the United States and out of other Western nations? Your thoughts? What have you seen?
Yes, I want to distinguish something. The Europeans this time seem to have put the right formula together. You had a clip on of the Austrian foreign minister. I noticed the EU put out a good statement. The French Prime Minister put out a good statement. It is really, really important the way they're doing it. Clear, unequivocal condemnation and standing up for the people of Israel. As you say, it wasn't just Israeli Jews who were murdered, but Israeli Arabs and others as well. There is no reason that anybody should clutter any kind of statement, as President Abbas did, with a non-clear, absolute condemnation.
Well, talking of exactly that, the Palestinian Authority president condemning the terror apparently, and I say apparently due to pressure from Defense Minister Benny Gantz, meanwhile, praise for those attacks from the rivals in the West Bank and Gaza in terms of Palestinian groups. What do you make of that messaging, that mixed messaging right now out of Ramallah?
Well, first of all, nobody should pressure anybody to condemn. We were asked to do that as well during the Trump administration. And my view very much was if President Abbas and others want to condemn it, they should be smart enough and caring enough to do it by themselves. I think people are celebrating President Abbas's condemnation, but I wouldn't go so fast. I think it was the bare minimum of condemnations. It was much more of a political statement. He spoke about Palestinians and Israelis being killed. These 11 people were not Palestinians being killed, unless you want to count the murderous Palestinian terrorist who killed some Israelis. He talked about how the only way this is going to stop is by having a just and peaceful solution. These are two different conversations. Nobody should combine them. President Abbas should have come out and said clearly, I condemn what happened. Nobody should ever do this, period. And if in a separate conversation on a different day, on a totally different day, in a different week, he wants to talk about Palestinian rights and a Palestinian state and all of his talking points, that's okay. But you don't do it in the time when 11 Israelis are murdered. You don't issue that kind of condemnation. To me, that kind of condemnation is actually part of the problem.
How do you see things unfolding, given what you've just said right now, in the coming weeks? Ramadan starts this weekend, many security concerns ahead of this last week involving these 3 terror attacks. How do you see the situation unfolding, given what you know about this region?
I think it's the Israeli government's responsibility, as any country, to maintain safety. And no country, not the United States or anyone else, should be giving guidelines to the Israelis to tell them how to behave and how to maintain peace and security. This reminds me of the Temple Mount attacks that happened, I think it was the summer of either 2017 or 2018, I believe it was 2017, where people were telling me to tell then Prime Minister Netanyahu that Israel shouldn't be putting up security apparatus on the Temple Mount, scanners. And I was shocked that there weren't even scanners protecting the people, both Arabs and Jews and Palestinians who go up to that very holy place that's holy to three religions. I have confidence in the Israeli government that they're going to keep the safety. I hope people keep calm, but nobody should be telling the Israeli government how to make sure that everybody there is kept safe and that there's no violence.
Well, we so appreciate your insight and your reaction. Speaking to us on this day, Jason Greenblatt, former White House envoy to the Middle East and author of a new book coming out in June about the Abraham Accords and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in the path of Abraham. Live from New York. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Be well.
Thank you.